If you've been posting content regularly, you're building offers and you're trying to grow your business, but you're not seeing traction, you're not seeing that community that you want grow, this episode is for you. So today we're going to talk about the only thing that really matters then that actually creates longevity in your business, and that is an engaged community. And community is different from followers, it's different to likes. I'm talking about a real community that belongs to you, the kind of community that keeps coming back because they choose to be with you, they choose to stay with you. Hey friends, welcome back. Isa-Welly here. I'm a business mentor and digital strategist for well-being entrepreneurs that are ready to turn their wisdom into income that supports their lifestyle. If this is your first time here, today's episode is part of the YouTube series I created to help you well-being entrepreneurs design and sell offers that support your life, the season of your life you're in now, your energy levels, and not just your revenue. Now, this is the class 6, and today we are going deep and talking about something I mention all the time, I talk about all the time, which is one of the key foundation of your business, your community. If you want to build a sustainable business, you have to have a way, a funnel, or something that is helping you grow an engaged community. And you want to do it in an intentional way. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to share with you different ways you can think about growing your community that are different from just posting every day and, the classic bets. So I have some gems for you. Before we dive in, let me give you a quick background on myself. I spent the last decade before my career evolved into business mentoring as a Pilates teacher, a registered nutritional therapist, a life and well-being coach. So 10 years in the well-being industry. And I've supported thousands of students throughout my paid courses, over 5,000 throughout my paid courses and programs that was in Pilates and nutrition. Those are still live. Those are still supporting my income and supporting my lifestyle to this day, which I'm really grateful for. And I spent years building that, and I have a community that is still growing here on YouTube on my Pilates channel. We are probably going to reach 500,000 by the end of this year, 2025, which is insane because I remember when I had 300 followers a few years ago. I remember like it was yesterday, and it's been such a beautiful ride. And I grew that community to 15,000 people on my mailing list, which I no longer have because my career has evolved, but I know I still have the core. They're still there. They're still there. I also have 35,000 people on my Instagram, and I know 90% of them are also from my well-being community, and I love and adore them, and I have nurtured them day in, day out, weekly with my emails, with my classes. And I want to share more about what I've learned, what I do, what I think works and what doesn't with you in this episode. So yeah, let's talk about what it actually takes to do that and how it can work for you too. Okay. Community, you've probably heard me say this before, something I've learned a while back from one of my very first mentor, Marie Folio. She used to say, I think she used to say community is the core, the foundation, but it is basically the backbone of your business. And I remember then thinking, okay, what does this mean really? This is 2016 or 2015, I think. I have just retired from being a professional dancer. I have my Pilates training. I don't really know what I want to do. I'm interested in nutrition. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's start building a community, sharing the things I love in health and wellness, and 10 years in, I kept that mentality and really supported me. And here's the thing. In those 10 years, I've seen the trends come and go, the followers come and go, but the community, the hardcore one, they're still here. Even what I'm not doing really well-being related content anymore, I still have my core community there with me. And these are the people that choose you. They give you their email. They come back over and over again to see what you're doing. Even when your career evolve, some of them might be interested in what you're doing now. They will follow you. And these people, I want you to nurture them, to love them like your own, really, truly, because they are real people behind your screens. And I think so many people tend to forget that. And in the marketing world, it's very much like, how many leads do you have? And sometimes like it bugs me a little bit because I'm like, Okay, these are people. I get it. You use, the marketing terms, but these are real people. They trust you, they believe you, they want to be part of your world. And what is important for you, and the first thing I would start with, if you already have a community, even if it's super small, my current, sorry, even if it's super small, is to know who they are, what they need, and what their desires are, because you can have a mixed, when you start, you need to be clear on who is there and what they need, because that's what's going to help you support them the best through free, like, paid content, to speak to them, to speak to their heart, so they really feel seen. And that is really, really important. I have a little less than 300 people on my mailing list, which is kind of super teeny tiny, although I've had, 3, 4 one-to-one clients, high tickets clients from that mailing list. So, you know, don't focus on numbers, because if you nurture your list, people will be ready to buy from you. And that could be from a small, teeny tiny community. But you need to know them. And I personally still in the process of getting to know who is in my new well-being community. What do they need? Right now, as we speak, if I'm being completely transparent with you, I don't know everything about them yet, right? It's been 4 or 5 months I've been building this community. Some people are the right people, some are at different stage of the journey. They're ready to move into one-to-one. Some are still thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to show up as a practitioner? Some might even just have graduated. So it is important to get to know them, to ask them. You could do forums, say, I would love for you to film, in exchange you get 10% discount. Or some people are just happy to help you. They're there because they also want to support your work. So get to know them. Of course, they won't all be the same persons, but you'll see some common characteristics, and knowing those patterns is gold. I remember back in the day when my list was growing fast, my well-being list was growing fast. Sometimes I just wasn't sure who was there, and I created products and courses that just did not land because they actually didn't want that. And I just didn't realize. You want to keep, checking in. Who is here? What do they want? What do they need? Focus on a platform. So when growing your community, focus on a platform that is easy for you and that fits your modality. If you're like in the fitness movement, it would be a shame not to be on YouTube, because everybody goes on YouTube for that. YouTube is a searchable platform. It is easy to find practitioners. You just have to type the name. Unlike Instagram, I see it. Even some of my clients now, they're still showing resistance towards YouTube. And, I can never force a client or never force anybody, as a fact, to go against something that doesn't feel right for them. But I always say, hey, here are the fastest way or the fastest platforms you can grow on because of how they design. They design for longevity, and YouTube is one of them. Instagram, can you grow fast? Yes, of course. But that relies a little bit more on luck, in the sense of algorithm, having a really different type of content, being really creative. If you're doing content that everybody's doing, it's like, okay, I might be lucky and go viral. But do you see that happens to a lot of people in your field? If so, great. Like, keep doing it. But I want you to be, I guess, intelligent and honor your energy and how much you create on a certain platforms and what it gives you back. What do you get back from it? I remember getting more one-to-one clients from my podcast that only had like 400 or 500 listeners per episode than my Instagram that already had 1,000 people on there, and it says a lot. It says a lot. So pick the platform that supports you, what you find easy, what you enjoy, but also your modality, your energy levels, and something that gives you back. The other things with creating content and building community is the reason why my community well-being is still growing is that I have created it on a platform that is, you can search. So people can search on YouTube and go back and decide to follow. And there are so many classes in there. So in a way, I don't have to do much to keep growing that, where on other platforms, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, it's a little bit harder. Same goes for podcasts. People can scroll and binge on your whole show in a week and get a really feel of what you are and buy from you within that same week, you know? So really, I really want to invite you to think about that. What platform works for you? Where can you be consistent? And where do you feel like your community hangs out? Where are your people? Where do they go when they need astrology tips, when they need, where do they go when they need like a yoga class? Where do they go? Go there, meet them there. Now, I want to share with you some ways you can grow your platform that are kind of like a bit away from social media and posting and relying just on content. Although content is king, it's just about doing the right type on the right platform. Okay, so number one, you can look at doing collaborations with colleagues that have a similar audience. So if you're a yoga teacher and you're supporting postnatal women, you're not necessarily going to want to collaborate with the same teacher, but it could be with a Pilates teacher, it could be with a meditation breathwork teacher, something that complements your modality, and you have the same similar audience. They're working with women as well of a particular age. That is great. That I see a lot of people do that and get great results from it. You can be guest on podcasts and shows, again, depending on your modality. But even I see a lot of fitness, Pilates teachers now that have their that have their podcast shows. So don't think because you're doing something that is movement related, you can't go and share some knowledge and share some tips, or just talk about your brand and what you stand for and who you are on others' platform. Something you can do as well is pitch bigger media outlets. So I was very fortunate to have been featured in Sherlock's, Vogue, Grazia here in the UK. And that has really helped me build credibility, but also bring new people into my world, faster. And I would definitely consider that. I have also pitched magazines before, so they didn't reach out to me straight away. I'll pitch them. Sherlock's is, I think, one that is quite easy to pitch. But those are big ones. There are so many other ones that you can pitch to be online, especially in the health and well-being world. There are so many platforms that are great that you can pitch. And a lot of the times on the website, you have the links. Pitch us a topic here. Here's what we're looking for. And that is a great way, a great, great, great way to be seen by many more people and to have a great exposure and credibility, because you're then being on a platform that they know, they respect, and they love. Something else you can do is to reach out to brands that are aligned with your vision. So when I was a Pilates teacher and a nutritional therapist, I was hired by a couple of brands to work with them long term. One of them was Moody Month app. So it's a period app, and they had extra content and classes for their members, basically. So I created for them for a period of 6 months, I think, weekly Pilates classes. They were 10 to 15 minutes, and nutrition tips as well. And that was great because that was actually paid. So that was amazing because I was getting the income and the exposure in the way that those people were discovering me, and they were then coming into my world. So you can think outside the box and reach out to brands that you love. It could be apps you love, and maybe you can take it as an investment. You say, okay, for the first 3 months, I'd like to offer you a few classes, blah, blah, blah. Here's the topics I talk about. That is great PR. You can just pitch them. I also worked a long term with Sweaty Betty and creating loads of classes for the Instagram. Again, that helps me a lot because it's a big, big brand. It's a fitness brand. But just go and pitch brands that you like, that are aligned with you. But more importantly, you know that your desired client, the community you want to build, they are hanging out. They buy from these people. They respect and love those brands as well. It also doesn't have to be brands as per se, like, a period app, for example, is not like a clothing brand or a fashion brand. It can also be a company. I recently pitched a supplement company. They sell supplements and they offer trainings for nutritionists, for nutritional therapists. And these are trainings I used to watch myself. And this is a platform I use a lot to buy my supplements. So I pitched them to host some webinars for their practitioners who wants to grow their business and learn how they can earn more money and do things a certain way. And I was so happy they said yes. Now I'm offering those 3 classes for free, but for me, it's really good, really, really great exposure. And that can be a long-term way, a long-term funnel for me to build my community and also bring in some clients, of course, So that's something to, yeah, for you to take note of. What I've also seen is practitioners in astrology and human design and all those healing modalities collaborate with bigger platforms. So big social media platforms. They'll go and they'll do either a live on there or they'll create some type of quotes and content for them to live on the platform. And that way they're already on the platform and they basically get tagged and that brings people in the world. They also sometimes might collaborate with fashion brands. I've seen some friends of mine from facialists to astrology do things with anthropology, with jewelry brands. So really, I invite you to think outside of the box in terms of, okay, where are my women or my men or whoever it is that you're supporting? Where are my people? Where are they hanging out? What brands do I like? What platforms do I follow? And how can I reach out to them to collaborate in a way that will support both of us? Now, here's the thing. You don't want to do these things if you don't have a system behind to support you in nurturing and bringing these people in. You don't just go on this platform and say, oh, follow me. As I mentioned at the beginning of this class, followers are very different from engaged community. Once these people come into your life, you then want to make sure you have a freebie, something you can give them where they give you the email that then brings them into your world and into your real world is on your mailing list, right? Get them on your mailing list and then you can nurture them there. That system, you've got to have it, because if not, you're just bringing people, let's say, onto your social media platform, which is great. But then what? When the algorithm changes and they don't see you for a month and then they forget, and they're like, who's this again? Like, you don't want to just rely on that. And remember, those platforms, including YouTube, they don't belong to us. They can change the rules and be like, now you all have to pay to even be here. Like, you just don't know what these people can come up with. Back yourself up, have a mailing list where people can find you, have a website, doesn't have to be anything complicated, where you people can hang out and you can really nurture them. That's it for today. I hope that was helpful and supportive. I have 2 spaces right now to welcome you, if this is you, well-being practitioner, in my one-to-one mentorship to help you build the foundation of your business. This is so important. This is not the sexy part. This is not the, yeah, I'm going to make 10K. For you to make 10K months, these things that everybody talk about online. Yeah, I want to make 10K. I want to make this. I want to make that. You've got to know how to grow your community, nurture it in a way that is sustainable for you, in a way that isn't just relying on algorithm or just relying on Facebook ads if you don't have the budget for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to have something that works for you. And that's the foundation of your business. And I can help you build that with so much ease within my one-to-one container. Once we have that going, we create your lead magnet, we create your freebie, and we start designing your offer so you have that ecosystem ready for you. Email me, it's admin@Isa-Welly.com. And we get on a call, we see if we're right fit for each other, and I'll tell you more about how we can work to build that for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.